Wow, 12:50. I'm jealous. How you doing, friends? Today I'll be talking about how to win when matchmaking spirits seem to just be against you and give you high battle rating enemies. So matchmaking can be a bit funny sometimes, pairing you with high players, as you may have seen from all the Reddit posts. So I thought I'd make a video about it, talking about some tips on how to beat these guys. As you know, I am an expert. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not an expert. I'm just trying to share what I've learned from my experience. Is this a low-key way of showcasing my wins against the big guys? Maybe. Just kidding. Mad respect to those who are close to or at 1250. I admire you guys a lot. Hope I can get there sometime. And it's also possible that they got disconnected and we're just playing against bots. But yeah, if you disagree with something in my video, it's totally cool, dude. Let me know in the comments. Maybe we can learn something new. Without further ado, let's get started. So I know a lot of players like to go solo, which I do as well sometimes, so I'm dividing the first part of the video to advice for solo queuers, and as the video goes on, I'll go into more tips once you've found a team. I will say that it is much easier to win when you have a full team, but I know sometimes that's not always possible, so I want to reach out to you solo players too. So my first tip is to be patient. I know it's kind of vague, but you'll notice that Defender games become much longer because people are trying to play smart now. You're going to wait until you make a mistake or come too close. And I know it's tempting to just dish out as much damage as possible, but if you're not patient, you might just find yourself in a 3v1. And that brings me to my next point. My next tip is that positioning is very important defensively. Again, you don't want to run into the middle right away. I see tons of people making the mistake and basically giving the enemy a free kill or a 3v1. They're likely going to hug their Bodok for the start of the match, and in times like this it would be good for a Storm or Supreme Sorcerer to use her abilities over the walls. So it's good to start off by poking the team into making a bad position or teasing out their specials. And don't let yourself get caught out of position. If they have a slow or stun, they'll likely save it for when you overextend. If you're a damage dealer and you run to the middle, the enemy only needs a slow or a couple of seconds to punish you real hard. So be careful and play defensively at the start. A friend of mine explained it really well to me. Imagine the arena is split into 4 quadrants. You should always try to avoid being in the opposite quadrant as your teammate. For example, if my team is in the bottom right, then I'm not going to run to the top left because that would be way too far and my team would need time to come and defend me. And if they don't come to me, I would need time to go back and retreat to them, leaving me very vulnerable. It's much better to stick together so that when an enemy gets caught out of position, you can all focus that one target. Now, not only can positioning be used defensively, but you can also use their positioning mistakes offensively to your advantage. Like I said before, try to save your crowd control, like slows, stuns, or roots for when an enemy overextends or approaches you. For example, if their damage dealer starts running up to you, but their team is far behind, distracted, or on the other side of the map, you can use that to your advantage to dish out some damage. If you're advanced enough, you'd be able to read when the enemy realizes that they're exposed. At that point, that would be the perfect time to use your crowd control. If you can find a 2v1 or a 3v1, take that opportunity to annihilate that person and get one person down, giving your team an advantage to capture that round or that point. The next thing to keep in mind is the strengths and weaknesses of each champion. This may seem kind of silly, but I honestly still see ranged people attacking close up to melee people. If you're a ranged champ, you can use that range to your advantage against melee people by attacking them just outside of their melee attacking range. And if they approach you, you can run back until they give up and then start kiting them again. Another way is that if your enemy's strength is their AoE special or area of effect, you can disperse a bit from your teammates to reduce overall damage. If you have a stun and you know an enemy has a long special, you can use your stun to interrupt their special. So when you keep in mind your enemy's weaknesses and start saving your specials, you'll notice that other players are doing the same, and it becomes a game of when to best use your special. That's what differentiates a novice from a pro. And if you pay close enough attention, you'll start to see patterns to predict their next move. For example, if I see a super soldier dashing into the middle of all of us, he's probably going to use his ult, so I'm going to dash away at that point. By reading your enemy and keeping in mind their weaknesses, you'll get more advanced in your gameplay. My next tip is to keep in mind each champion's roles. So each champion has their role either as a support or a tank or a damage dealer. And you want to try and focus your gear towards your champion's strengths. Like if you're playing Web Warrior or Black Panther, you're going to want to build damage. And as the damage dealer, you want to stay back since you'll be squishy and vulnerable, and then come in at the right moment. Vice versa, for melee champs, you want to build at least some armor or resistance since you'll be at the front lines. And if you see someone positioned outside their role, you can punish them for it. Like if a damage dealer is exposed at the front lines, then you can slow them and dish out your damage. Likewise, if a tank is far away or separated from their team, you can punish them then. Building off of that point is team composition. So we're getting into advice that's more for pre-made teams now. Again, I personally think it's much easier to win with a pre-made team. It also reduces the chance of those pesky bots. Also, shout out to my alliance, X-Force. But yeah, if you're a dedicated player and want to join an active alliance, let me know your in-game name and we'll play a few rounds together. So at defender level, I find that team composition starts playing a more of a role than in other tiers. Best would be to have a balance of tank and damage, in my opinion. 1 tank and 2 damage seems to work best from my experience. So try to find a group of friends grinding to defender with certain champs that work well with your goals. If you're a Storm trying to get up, maybe find a friend who's trying to get their Hulk up in BR. Unless of course you're a team of 3 Hulks with epic gear and amazing damage. Hulk OP. Another benefit of having pre-made teams is that you can talk to them after each game about their style and who to focus. Focusing one target is super important because you can maximize damage and increase your chance of getting a kill first. Sometimes you can even tell between a random team and a pre-made team by how they focus their champions. Of course, this is easiest when you're talking live with voice, but I know that's not always possible, so talking in between games through chat works too. And I would recommend focusing on their damage dealer whenever possible, like Black Panther, Iron Legionnaire, or Web Warrior. If you can focus them first, then you will dramatically decrease their damage output throughout the game. Alright, my last and final tip is don't give up. Losing games like these can be discouraging, so Good Guy Hulk is here to encourage you with some tacos. There will always be losses or teams with just amazing gear, so just keep on practicing, putting time into your skills, and you'll get there. Anyways, that's it for the video, guys. Feel free to subscribe if you liked it. Thanks for watching. This vid was a bit more focused towards Defender tier, but if you're not there yet, you can still use these tips to take you there. Don't give up, friends. You'll get there soon. If we get to 50 subscribers, then I am going to do a thumb reveal. That's right, not my face, but my thumb. The most prized possession of I'm a mobile gamer. Alright, thanks again for watching, guys. See you in the next video. Peace.